Hello, lovely viewers. You are welcome to DTC Official GH. This is another conversation about rethinking Africa, as I introduced to you at the Afro Talks event. And I'm here with the venerable Prince Akpah. He does a lot of things. I don't know what he does now. So he will introduce himself. We're going to have a conversation around the Borderless Africa, the AfCFTA, and if time permits us, we will chip a bit into the current wave across Africa in terms of rethinking democracy and the military interventions that is happening. So, say you are welcome to DTC
Thank you so
Official.
much
Can you
for
tell
having
our
me.
audience who you are?
So my name is Prince Akpah. I'm the Pan-African Solidarity and Mobilization Lead at Africans Rising, which is a movement made up of organizations and people spread across the entire world. We have over 40,000 members
Well,
that are actively engaged on various initiatives that we embark on.
Africa Rise, and I think I'm on
Africans Rising.
Africans Rise, and I think I've signed up for something like that. But I'll leave a link in the comment section so you click on it when you are interested and read about it. But today we are going to have a very good conversation around movements in Africa. This I personally have traveled Africa for a while between 2015 and 2017. I did 6 countries: Ghana, Mali, Guinea. Okay, so I speak French a bit. And it's quite difficult getting access to a different country with a Ghanaian passport, especially if you're an Anglophone entering a Francophone country. I inquired about the free movement in Africa, and I was told that when the pact was ready, only one um, president signed. And so there seemed to be lack of political will. What is Africans Rising doing, and what is the challenges that we are facing?
Well, as I've mentioned, the borders on the continent are results of the Berlin Conference. So, which means the current political leaders that we have were not there when all these borders were being created. They've also come to find it. I don't know, probably if they find some solace in being conjured into like a certain excluded space. Because if you could look at the continent, see that there are lines almost everywhere dividing us into 54
Countries.
different countries as we know it. So they were not there when all those things were done. So I can't answer why they themselves are not able to take actions against it. But one of the key things that we've realized is that when we have our leaders, most of them have diplomatic passports. So it becomes very easy for them to move around. They don't face the challenges that you and I are facing. So whilst they were at the grassroots, I'm sure they were yearning for some of these things. But when they get there, because of the passports that they have access to, then they just forget about the real thing that is on the ground. So that's what Africans Rising has been doing. 2022, we launched the campaign, and so far we've been very key on advocacy, trying to push the thing. Sometimes we feel like maybe they've forgotten about this. Maybe they've forgotten that the normal citizens can take or have the same privilege that they have with their type of passport. But as Africans Rising, we are organizing matches. We are getting people to sign petitions. We are getting people to organize communities engagements with various groups of people. And then we are also encouraging our members to write to their Ministry of Foreign Affairs in the various countries to ensure that we remind them of this commitment that they made in 2018 at the African Union, that they want a continent that people can move around freely. So that's what Africans Rising has been working on.
So, um, you made a comment on the stage when you were speaking
Yeah.
that it's you kind of wonder how we are promoting AfCFTA, which is free trade in Africa, but free movement in Africa remains a challenge. And when you talked about diplomatic passport, I think last year I did a blog about where Dangote, the richest man in
Yeah.
Africa,
Yeah.
in in a panel discussion and at the Africa Prosperity, made a comment that he, as the African
Richest
richest
person.
person, have to need visas, about 54 visas. He
Yeah.
has to chase visas to be able to um, travel
Access
access the
and
continent.
even send investments to other companies,
A
other
person
countries.
bringing investment.
Yeah.
Do you think AfCFTA is achievable without free movement?
That's what I said on the stage. It's definitely not possible. Uh, if you look at the people involved in the trade business, uh, there are different types and different kinds of people involved. For you, you might see a highly connected businessman that can call the embassy to get a visa arranged for them. But the driver that would drive the truck, because in Africa we don't have a train connected train
No,
system.
no, 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 not
The
at all.
flights that we have is too expensive.
Expensive,
If you
very.
want to take a goods from Togo to Ghana, it's definitely a driver that will drive from Togo to Ghana, and
Exactly.
that person has to spend hours at the and who on to that person is not even a citizen of any of the two countries.
Mhm.
That means that person needs a visa from wherever country is coming from to be able to access. So even if this is coming from a Nigerian, imagine a Nigerian truck driver trying to drive from Lagos all the way to South Africa. Just imagine the number of visas that he needs to acquire before he can even be able to move his or her goods from that country to the place. So how do we give visas to non inanimate things? Trade, yeah, trade is good, of course. It will make people wealthy, but how does that trickle down? How does the benefit of an AfCFTA trickle down all the way to the people that really need to have access to their continent? Who is speaking for them? No one. But we have goods that have been given granted access. We have lots of conversations on how trade will boom on the continent. We have lots of conversation on how businesses will create more opportunities for people, whereas those same people have absolutely no opportunity, no possibility to travel freely as they would wish to do.
All right. So this will be my hopefully last question. You have been a blogger. You've worked in the media for a while, and I'm very much particular about storytelling, where I think that our story writers, our media, are they doing enough in order to promote the continent's agenda, as in free movement, free trade? Do you think what is the media doing or not doing? Do you think there is the real, or the media is only selling since it doesn't benefit them? They don't also.
Well, I think we need to give it to the media if whether they are doing their job or not. It's fair because some people create their blogs, their platforms to make money. So of course they will publish things that are relevant to them. What we as Africans Rising identified was the stories of travel bloggers who travel across the continent and write stories. So last year we had a convention in Ghana called the All Africa Movement Assembly. So we actually brought about 15 of those travel bloggers to Ghana so that they can actually share with us their stories. And it's not encouraging because even though we don't have the mainstream media reporting on some of these things, there are individuals like bloggers that have taken it upon themselves to travel, test the system, to see how possible they can also report to other people, even advise other people how to travel across the continent. And it's very challenging. So the only thing that we can do is to encourage the media to turn up the volume more on some of these issues. It becomes very it occurs to them when they have to go to a different country to cover a story and
Mm,
realize that
it's not easy.
it's not easy. And then, but how about an ordinary person that wants to go to a country for health purposes? It's not possible. Last year or last 2 years, I had the opportunity to host a Gambian in Ghana, a Gambian citizen in Ghana, for an eye surgery, which he couldn't do in Gambia. Imagine if Ghana had a visa restrictions on Gambia. That means he has to sit down, apply for visa,
Visa.
wait for an interview when his eyes problem
Go
is
through all the hustle and bustle.
so people are going through all these things. There are certain countries that people cannot even cross the border to the other.
Wow.
DRC and Congo Brazzaville, it's just a water that has separated them. But you need a visa to go to any of those countries.
Wow.
Zambia, Zimbabwe, and another country have like a border, like I think three different countries at one
Mm.
border. But the market women in those villages around the borders cannot even travel to the next country to go even trade either their maize or their cassava or whatever produce that they have. So the challenges are there. And I think I would want to encourage the media to put a spotlight on this. I've seen lots of conversations now happening. I don't know if it's because some of them too have been affected because of some of these restrictions.
I
Because
think so.
one, we don't have a Pan African media channel. There are a lot of things that we call ourselves Pan African that in reality is not even happening.
Mhm.
There are so many things that we can achieve if the continent is really integrated. I mentioned we don't have a Pan African
Media
media.
channel.
How is that possible when the journalists cannot move freely across the continent to report? When the journalist himself's life is even endangered. in
through
moving
the
across the continent.
travels.
Even just
Yes.
last week, we had some activists and media personalities going to Tanzania to cover a case that is ongoing in their court. They were all deported at the airport, and those that were able to make it into the country were arrested, maltreated, and dumped at the various borders of their countries to go back home. So, if we really want a continent that will flourish, I think we need to open our borders, be open to have Pan African collaborations. You can go outside and call it Pan African when you can't even collaborate with your friend in Kenya, when you can't even collaborate with your friend in Morocco, in Algeria, even Morocco and Algeria to have their own issues.
Issues.
You
Yeah.
understand? So
It's
the
a
issues
tight
are there,
one.
but if we encourage the countries to ratify the African Union protocols on free movement of people, I'm sure some of these things will start to reduce. We'll start giving attention to the things that are dying. We have security issues in certain countries that can even be supported by security from other countries, not by deploying people, but sometimes the intelligence or the advice of people that have faced the same issue on how to prevent some of these things could be applicable in lots of other countries on the continent that can help us to have improved. How come it's not all the countries in the Sahel that are suffering from terrorist attacks and stuff? Because some of them have been able to manage this very well, but is
Exactly.
there intelligence sharing where those that have managed it well are able to share it with others that are able to that do not have those platforms and stuff? So I think we have a long way to go, and I think we better start doing it now.
All right, so
Yeah.
we have a long way to go and we better start doing it now. This has been a conversation with Prince Akpah. He is
The Pan African Solidarity and Mobilization Lead.
the
That's
Pan
Africa's.
African Solidarity and Mobilization Lead for Africans Rising. This is a very interesting discussion that I am passionate about in terms of Africa and telling Africa's story and dealing with Africa's challenges. This has been DTC Official GH. Make sure you subscribe to this channel, share this content, and make sure that we are selling Africa to Africans. Have a wonderful time. Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.